This week, the coolest history lesson in history, the smallest car race in the world, and we're with the doctor as something goes bump in the night. School. It's changed a lot since I went through the education mangle all those many years ago. Many years ago. The school buildings may look the same, but technology has been infusing education for quite a while now. We have smart whiteboards, we have increasing use of tablets and laptops, we have e-textbooks instead of textbooks, but also there are some systems which mean the way that kids learn and are taught is changing completely. It seems many tech giants want to become part of education. After all, an early introduction to their brands may one day add up to a greater number of users. Microsoft this week launched its education offering, which includes a new version of Windows called Windows S, a budget Surface Pro in various colours, and some tweaks to its Office applications. Apple's teaching tool Classroom had a facelift last month and now offers more tools for teachers. But before both of these came Google Classroom. And today I'm finding out more about it from Mr. Lickfold, Director of Learning at Tring Secondary School. They've been using this online system for the past 18 months to teach and monitor the students' progress. Today I'm learning about the Galapagos Islands, and I have to say the lesson that Chris has constructed certainly looks more engaging than my old textbooks. But tech can do a lot more than just provide media-rich lesson plans.
We're able to personalise what we do far more than we've ever done before. We can take them to different resources that are available on the system. Every student's learning journey will be different.
Taking teaching online also means that teachers have a lot more access to children's individual learning data and even their thought processes. For example, this browser extension, DraftBack, lets the teacher watch how an essay was written and refined.
If I've got a student who, in preparation for their exams, is not constructing their paragraphs correctly, I can say, OK, let's look at how you constructed your particular paragraph. What did you do? Where did you develop it? What can we do differently? If it's maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs and they spent so long on the first one, then I can also just say, well, look, this is how long you spent on this first document. It was like half an hour. You only spent 5 minutes on the second and third one.
The kids also seem to like the learning experience.
So like lots of the time there'll be teachers at home and we can still do work at home and teachers can still be there on our thing and see how much we've actually done.
So if your teacher doesn't believe that you've spent the amount of time required on the homework, then you can say, actually, I did, because look at the edit history.
It's just so much quicker than handing in work, waiting to another lesson to get it back. Whereas now you can just hand it in, and within 20 minutes you can have it back.
Using online tools and data is one way to enhance learning in schools. But Lara Lewington has been looking at other tech that promises to change how children learn completely.
VR, robots, holograms, it wasn't like this in my day. At the Bet Education show earlier this year, we saw some of the most cutting-edge ideas heading to the classroom soon. Over the past few months, I've seen quite a few devices that bring together the idea of kids coding and toys, aiming to make the activity more fun. But good old Lego here have gone a step further. They're trying to recreate real-life situations where robots would be used so that children can find problems and then find the solutions. And the mission we have here is for a space robot, which needs to move around the space base, collecting these pieces all together and taking them back to one place. But obviously, the coding should do that bit. Using the drag and drop blocks to create sequences that will carry out actions is just part of the learning process, as science is being taught at the same time. But Brixo's vision of what could be learnt through these small plastic blocks was quite different. Look at this. This is a way to bring your existing Lego set to life. It's got a couple of LED lights, a sensor, and these blocks actually conduct electricity. From there, you can create whatever spinning, moving, lighting functions take your fancy. But this use of technology isn't just about teaching ICT. This adaptive learning is also about employing new methods of teaching traditional classes.
The teacher guides the experience, but as a student, you can freely roam about.
This is Google Expedition. Now, Jen here is going to play the part of a teacher. She'll be talking through what we're all looking at in the goggles at the same time.
That actually represents all of you, and that's actually a really important thing.
The pictures are amazing. I mean, looking at the difference between the healthy lungs and the smoker's lungs, I definitely think will stick with the kids. The idea of an image in your mind is certainly something that could be easier to maintain than just someone talking. But my issue is actually with the idea of wearing the goggles. They're fine for a couple of minutes, but then I do feel the urge to take them off, so I can't imagine actually wearing them for a full half-hour lesson or beyond. Many of these ideas will be picked up by individual schools, but although the ideas and devices are out there, the challenge comes in making them available to the masses. And that's something which one not-for-profit in Finland, a country considered to have one of the world's best education systems, is trying to overcome.
I'd say that education is one of the few big industries that's still waiting to be disrupted. One of the biggest challenges in our education system is that it's based on the ideals of industrial world. So it's kind of like it's teaching everyone to be the same. And in tomorrow's world, it's crucial to be individual.
One idea turns things on its head though, focusing not simply on new ways of teaching, but firstly analysing how we learn. Well, I'm on my way to maths class, which should cause me a bit of concern because I'm not sure I remember that much from school. But with this class, everybody's having their own private lesson. The teacher doesn't stand up and project their voice to start the session. The kids take their places at computers where Sentry AI will take them through the lesson. This artificial intelligence system aims to teach each pupil at their own pace and in the way that suits them best, constantly getting to know them better and tracking their progress.
And the entire purpose of this machine is to learn how your brain learns and then utilise that data, and it constantly adapts to provide them with a top-tier education at any single moment, and then take that data and offer it to the teacher in real time. And here, the student generates the data. It's provided in real time to teachers. They can intervene when necessary, and then they can actually spend more time on that human interaction with the student, the pastoral care that they need to provide to that individual.
So if you've got 3x as you take on,
Teachers can share their content around the world with other people using Sentry, so any given subject could have numerous options the machine could select from based on a student's focus and learning levels. And if they choose to manually switch, well, it tracks and considers their preferences too. But what do you feel are the challenges?
Sometimes, like, if you're not too sure on a question and you've watched the videos and stuff, it's easy to like have a human explain it to you. But the computer does make it as easy as possible.
Whilst of course I can see the benefits of personalised education, there is one thing playing on my mind, and that's the amount of screen time.
We have had plenty of teachers, not just parents, saying, you know, do we really want them staring at a screen and on an iPad? And actually, it's not the answer, it's not binary. And I think that's really, really important. We don't think teachers should be replaced. We think we need more teachers. We just think teachers should be spending their time teaching, inspiring, imparting knowledge of a subject that they really understand.
There's no shortage of ideas, yet naturally putting them to the test requires people willing to take the chance on them. But clearly the idea of technology giving an overhaul to how we educate our kids doesn't seem far away.
Hello and welcome to The Week in Tech. It was the week that Tesla boss Elon Musk talked about tunnels again. He's proposed an underground network where your car gets shuttled from A to B on an electric skate that could go up to 130 miles per hour. The name of his new venture? The Boring Company. It was also the week that users of messaging app WhatsApp were left asking, "What's happening?" after the service mysteriously went down for several hours around the world. And the bank accounts of O2 customers in Germany were drained after the SS7 mobile telecommunications system was hacked. We covered the SS7 vulnerability on the show last year. Over in Sweden, the world's fastest camera has been developed. Lund University's cam can capture 5 trillion images per second, whilst other conventional high-speed cameras typically capture 100,000. Instead of capturing images one by one, this captures several coded images at once and pieces them together into a video afterwards. It'll be used to film things like brain activity and chemical reactions. And finally, in an effort to help robots run better in the future, this ostrich-like bot can sprint up to 10 miles per hour and has been cleverly designed to self-balance without the need for sensors or computer processing. A single motor drives the bot's legs forward in an elliptical motion, injecting more power when it feels resistance. Look at it! It's got a mind of its own!
Right, everyone down to the pub for a swift half, a game of bar billiards, and a battle with some giant bugs. Sounds like the perfect evening for Mark Chislak.
There are a couple of things that you always find in a British pub. Number one is pints of beer. In some drinking shops, there are distractions like darts.
And of course, virtual reality headsets.
VR in pubs? However will you find your pint?
The big problem for most people with virtual reality is space. You just don't have the space in a normal sized living room to play VR games properly. The headsets have got cables attached to them, which you can easily trip over, and then you've got furniture and walls that you can bang into. That is where pubs come in. Pubs are generally bigger than the house that you live in, so there's no problems with space, and they afford you the opportunity of truly social virtual reality experiences because people can see what you're doing. So the walls in here are green, and that means the spectators that are watching me play can see the environment that I'm in. And also, if I back myself up to them, I feel that they're soft. They're padded, so players can't injure themselves if they get a little bit too energetic and throw themselves around the space. It's like a soft play area for adults.
The combination of public house and virtual reality is the brainchild of these guys. They've used their backgrounds in satellite technology, IT and engineering to create this setup.
So what made you guys think that VR and pubs went together like pie and a pint?
We thought we wanted to do a VR arcade, but finding, arcades have a sort of stale and outdated image. And so we were looking for a good venue to do virtual reality in public.
When you're involved with alcohol, there's always a degree of risk to the gear and to the equipment overall. So we've had to rig up harnesses so that basically if people fall over, they don't damage themselves. The harnesses also protect the headsets so they don't fall on the ground.
Enough talk. It's time to try out the specially designed VR rig.
We've got the Vive plugged into this sort of seatbelt arrestor system, which will catch you if you fall.
In order to make players safe, it's crucial that the cables for the headset are kept out of the way.
So I have a harness that I have to put on?
It goes on there.
Yep.
And then we clip this in out the back here.
Yep.
And now, no matter how much you turn around, this cable's not going to get caught in your head. It's not going to get caught around your back.
An ingenious solution to the cable problem that everybody finds with VR headsets. Okay, now I've played tons of games in VR before, and as always, I'm immediately transported from the space that I was in, this pub, into this sewer. Got zombies coming from pretty much every direction. Oh. Reload, reload. Oh! You don't really notice the cable that you're wearing and the harness. I thought you would, but I don't notice it's there at all. So what have you discovered about the kind of games that are best to play in this environment?
I mean, our rule of thumb is basically any more than one button is too complicated. Most of the people who are playing have never played virtual reality before, and it's enough of a surprise for them to find themselves in a computer game. You don't want to then have to try and get them to remember 6 or 7 button combinations as well.
Double your gun, double your fun.
So this is where nice, simple games can easily be demonstrated. It's a wave shooter, so I've just got waves and waves of bad guys trying to attack me. The aim is simple. Fight them off. How do people fare when they've been in the VR, when they've had a couple of drinks?
It's a bit like playing pool. You get progressively better, and then you get a lot worse all the time.
It's really, really frantic. I don't think I can stand longer than 5 minutes in here, simply because I'm getting really hot. Oh, and I'm dead. Oh, well, it's somebody else's turn, and it's my turn to order at the bar. Oh.
Now, does this look like a racetrack to you? Does this look like a car? Well, last weekend, 6 teams took to the track in Toulouse in France for the world's first nano car race. The nano cars are specially designed molecules which are invisible to the human eye. Nano things are very, very small. 1 nanometer is 30,000 times thinner than a human hair.
In ideal cases, we try to build molecules which have the shape of a car. That is some kind of chassis and 4 wheels, and ideally a motor. But in some cases, it turns out that much simpler molecules work as well.
6 teams competed, representing France, Switzerland, Japan, Germany, the USA, and there was a joint US and Austrian team. The tiny racetrack for most teams was made of gold. Now, this is because gold is so soft, its surface can be made extremely flat, as in there's not even an atom out of place. And that does take some time to prepare.
Since we bring different type of molecule on the surface, on the same surface, they are first to clean their surface, to be sure that they have the good track, that is, to have the good organization of the atom, and to free the track from the molecules they don't want. And this will take 1 or 2 days.
Once the nano cars were in position on the track, the teams used the tip of a scanning, tunnelling microscope to propel the vehicles with tiny electric charges. They had 30 hours to race 100 nanometers and back. 6 teams started with no guarantee that they would all finish, but there is historical precedent here.
In 1894, there was the first ever car race in the world. Of course, macroscopic car, big cars. It was the first event. You have 100 and so cars registered at that time, and only 21 succeed to start, and only 17 arrive at the end. Mm-hmm. So we are in the same situation, but of course we have less starting cars.
In the end, it took one team only 90 minutes to finish the race, but they did use a different track.
If we had used the gold, it was going to be uncontrollably fast. So we used a silver surface, which is actually a slower surface. So we slowed it down so that we could control it better around the pylon. We never revealed the structure of our car until race day. There was no requirement to reveal the structure of the car because we'd worked so hard to come up with these design features. We didn't feel that we wanted to reveal that to the world until race day. And looking at their cars, we knew that they were going to be a little bit slower because, number one, they were very big. The higher the molecular weight, the harder it is to move it. Number two, they had aromatic wheels. We knew that was going to slow them down. Even though it was originally deemed as a 36-hour race and then 30-hour race, we knew that we were going to be able to finish much faster than that.
The second team to finish raced on the standard gold course and took over 7 hours. The organisers decided to declare both the Swiss team and the US-Austrian team joint winners as they raced in different circumstances. The tech used in the race will help improve the imaging capabilities of the world's most powerful microscopes, and the car design process has pharmaceutical applications for making designer molecules. As it was in the world's first nano race, every team will have plenty of thinking to take back to their tiny drawing boards.
Now, you may remember last year we tickled your earbuds with something called binaural sound. Now, this is a way of recording audio, so when you listen back through headphones, the sounds actually sound like they're coming from the right place in 3D space. Well, it turns out someone was listening. Not just someone, but the doctor. And he invited Kate Russell to hear all about it.
Paul, go and have a look. Why me? You're physically the biggest.
Maybe it's just a set you're eating.
Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to scare you. Unlike a new episode of Doctor Who that uses binaural sound to really get inside your head.
I've come to South Wales, where the episode Knock Knock was filmed. In this spooky-looking house, the Doctor investigates some strange noises.
What's going on?
Using binaural sound, the show's producers are able to ramp up the fright factor by placing sound effects all around the listener, so they feel like they're actually inside the room with the actors.
If you see a normal digital audio workstation, everything is layered up in tracks, but actually we can see those tracks on the computer as little objects, like you're looking down on top of a room. So you can see these dots with a cross showing where the left and right is, and the up and down, your XY axis. When the sounds are then put through into the BBC renderer, which is a piece of software that the R&D team have made, then you can see where those sounds are hanging in 3D space.
To experience the binaural effect, you must be using stereo headphones. Even a top-of-the-range 5.1 surround sound speaker system won't deliver the results, as the microscopic time delays in sounds arriving at your ears are vital to creating the 360-degree immersive effect.
That was super, super scary and spooky and atmospheric. Very subtle. If you're expecting the kind of like sideshow act of jumping around sound that really wows you, this is not what this is about. This is about a subtle experience of placing you in a three-dimensional soundscape.
The reason why this episode lent itself so brilliantly to the binaural mix is because of it being a kind of horror, playing with the horror genre and the tropes of that. And a lot of what makes things scary, I think, is what you don't see. And building up the atmosphere to that moment of scare is really what the audience are looking for.
We were told 3D TV was going to be the next big thing. Well, that didn't happen. So why should this be any different?
The reason why binaural is really taking off now is because we're in the age of the smartphone and the tablet, and people are consuming their media with headphones. The headphones are hugely popular. We've got, even in my family, my kids will sit down watching their own content that they're interested in with a pair of headphones so as not to disturb each other. I think what will happen when people experience binaural audio with TV content, radio content, and then they go back to stereo, they'll feel a little bit, it's quite a claustrophobic feeling, and you think, well, I want that other sound, please. What was that? Oh, it was binaural. Let me have some more of that, please. And I think that's where we'll start to see binaural really take off.
This spooky episode will be broadcast with regular sound on UK TVs this weekend. I'm afraid viewers from the rest of the world will have to wait. For the binaural experience, watch it on iPlayer. I recommend a darkened room, some decent stereo headphones, and a steely nerve.
And remember, if you do hear knocking sounds in the night, it's probably just your pipes. Probably.
Wow, can't wait to see and more importantly hear that episode. But then I love Doctor Who, can't wait to see every episode. Anyway, that's it for this week. Follow us on Twitter at BBC Click throughout the week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.